Cup USA, featuring racing from coast to coast. Fast, friendly, and fun. Come join us at ROK Atlanta, ROK Pacific, Florida Winter Tour, or ROK Vegas. ROK Cup USA, home of ROK Vegas and the original Florida Winter Tour. ROK Cup USA, serious fun.
When it comes to innovation on the track, Odenthal Racing Products leads the pack. From the highly popular EasyGP camera mounts to our tough case to GoPro case, racers everywhere trust ORP for strength, reliability, and precision. We're proud to be the #1 engine mount manufacturer in the USA. And with our new Easy Bumper Retainer System, you won't get caught out with a failed bumper bolt again. Odenthal Racing Products. Lead or get left behind.
High-end floors for high-end lifestyles. At TSG 5-Star, we connect the most respected hardwood, laminate, and vinyl flooring brands with the designers as showrooms who create unforgettable spaces. TSG 5-Star, your source for premium flooring and exceptional service.
Every great race starts with preparation. Every great plan starts with purpose. Daisa Alvarez, financial representative. Proud sponsor of Nicholas Bazzani.
Four drivers, 12 turns, one goal. This is Power Drive Vegas.
Welcome back to ROK Vegas. DJ Clark, Rob Howden here in the commentary booth. We'll be joined shortly by Jackson Lambros. And Rob, it has been an action-packed weekend. We've only got 4 races left in this fantastic weekend of karting.
Yeah, I think the morning was fun, was it not? The first couple of races were really barn burners, which was great, kind of set the stage for everything we'd see for the rest of the day. I'll say this, the junior drivers are done. We had the GP Junior and the VLR Junior classes. They're already done, which means we've got a couple senior races coming here as well. That's what's going to be super exciting. Out of the gate with VLR 100 Senior first and capping it all off, which will be a fantastic race in SV Pro.
Yeah, don't blink on that one. There's going to be about 50 karts out on the track, and you're not going to be able to take your eyes off of the action. But a lot of craziness this morning, a lot of movement, a lot of some dominant races that we saw. We saw some that were very fiercely competed, one back and forth, but when there were battles, they were aplenty out on track.
Yeah, we had that one runaway with Isaac Malkit, right? He was able to get out early. They fought behind him, immediately started fighting for second. But after that, you're right. We had battles back and forth. We had guys come from deep in the field. At one point, one of the drivers was back to 8th position, ended up crossing the line as the race winner. The way this track lays out, there's a lot of awesome places to overtake. 4 really primary overtaking corners, 1, 5, 8, and 10. But what happened is we start getting the drivers start going on the defensive late in the race, maybe even midway through the race. And when that happens, you sacrifice the exit speed, and that allows all those other guys to come back into the fight. We're down to a couple of 2, 3, 4 kart battles, then it'll be an 8 or 9 at the end. So I think we'll see more of that, especially in the senior categories where they get super aggressive.
Yeah, and I think with the senior categories, you're going to see a little bit more of strategic thinking. I mean, a lot of these younger drivers, it is kind of that what's in front of you, immediacy, action, got to make that pass. I think when we get into the VLR seniors, certainly in the shifter masters and super masters, you're going to see a lot of that long-term thinking looking in these 14-minute races. The exception to that rule obviously will be ROK Micro that we'll have as the second race of the afternoon.
Yeah, so it's VLR Senior to start things off, ROK Micro to follow, then we'll do the Shifter Masters and Super Masters and wrap it all up with the ROK SV Pro category. 50 drivers in that class. Everybody's had a chance to kind of be closer near the front. They're all chasing Jake Drew. I think it's going to be such a great race. And what an awesome way to finish off this entire ROK Sunday to really hammer it out with the best category in the weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. And once again, with that raffle that we go into with those carts for SV Pro, you never quite know what you're going to get. We saw Scott Norberg. I heard him very
Ryan
fast.
Norberg, yep.
Ryan Norberg, excuse me.
I got you, yep.
Yeah, Ryan Norberg this morning said he was very, very fast in warm-up. Could be something fun.
That's what we're talking about. So the drivers had to put their motor in last night. They picked up another motor here for today. They've swapped those out every day. So everybody back in a new power plant here for the action this afternoon. We'll see how that plays out. Norberg did top the morning warm-up session. Bodes well for him. He's happy with the package he has right now. We're on the track right now, getting things underway. It is time to go for the main event for the VLR Senior category. Remember, an LCQ to get the last 10 spots, 30 straight in from the heat races. Jeremy Fletcher for Mike Manning, karting very impressive out of the gate. He's been able to pass all over the racetrack. He'll be on the pole alongside Sebastian Garzone. Row number 2, Chase Hand and Jake Drew, the two GFC drivers side by side. Both have led races here this weekend. Hand and Drew with a good handle on this particular racetrack. Dean Peterson racing in Europe all year long. That Soren Motorsports driver set to go from P5. He'll start alongside the driver who all but dominated the junior racing across the national schedule this year. Also performance groups, Alexander Vanchev. On row 4, it'll be Carter Herrera. He's been in the middle of the top 5 fight alongside ADT. Alessandro De Tullio starting in the 8th position for the Rocket Racing Company. Colin Lloyd's been up front throughout the entire weekend. He'll start 9th, as has Jonathan Ports. Very impressive Ports with Nelliton Race Concepts. He's led a lot of laps in the heat races and in the pre-final. Watch for Ports to quickly work his way from P10. Carlos Hernandez starting in 11th alongside Caleb Gaffera, while Jesus Vasquez Jr. and Oliver Marak will start on row 7. James Overbeck and Gavin McCune on row number 8. Jackson Menchu alongside William Boutillier on row number 9. Anthony Rivera will start in the 19th spot. Santiago Fernandez in 20th. Chris Harrower and Archer Eversman on row 11. Field rolling out. There's your first 22. 40 strong coming in, including the winner of that last chance qualifier. Here we go, folks. Set to go. Main event racing for VLR Senior. Green, green, green.
Good getaway there from Jeremy Fletcher. Garzone Drew in hand, kind of as we suspected in a 3-cart fight. Also count out Dean Peterson into that mix as well. But it looks like that battle for P2 hasn't settled itself. But what a getaway here for Jeremy Fletcher. This is not what the likes of Garzone Drew in hand want to see in front of him.
Reminding me a lot of what happened in the race with Isaac Malkit when he was able to pull out to the early lead. Got some really good laps coming out of the gate. And everybody else behind him immediately started thinking about battling for second. Look what we have there. Already defense early on. You can't let this kid get away. Fletcher's just like Malkit. You give him open racetrack and you want to start battling for second, say goodbye to the Mike Manning karting driver.
Yeah, he's going to absolutely control the pace of this race. Peterson now up to second. Drew, Vanchev, Garzone, De Tullio moving up through the order into 6th place. Let's see if Vanchev has a little bit of a move into turn 5, thinks better of it. Peterson leading that secondary pack right now. A little bit of a poke behind from Sebastian Garzone. Now through turn 6 and into turn 7. Little bit of half-hearted looks there from Drew and Vanchev. They're thinking that this could be the battle for P2, and they're just letting Fletcher skip off into the distance.
There's no way you can think that. We talked about the fact you mentioned you expect more out of the senior drivers, understanding strategy and playing the game correctly. Again, Dean Peterson right there in that 940. But listen, you can't be battling for second right now. These guys all have to work together. They're already low-lining it, coming out of turn 13 over to turn number 1 and 2. Fletcher, Drew, Peterson, Vanchev, De Tullio, top 5. There's a move a little further back there. I believe that might have been Vanchev going by, but I'm telling you, you simply can't let a driver of the quality and performance of Jeremy Fletcher have open racetrack.
No, you really cannot. Good moves, by the way. De Tullio starting to move his way up through the order here in that 242. He sits in 4th place right now. Continued improvement just working his way slowly but surely up through the ranks. Now down through Switchback City they go. Van Schev up into third, and it looks like Peterson, I think, has fallen down through the order just a little bit. Duck of the head there for Jake Drew. Indeed, Peterson's dropped down to 5th place as we see the rest of this field start to get their way through. Jesus Vasquez Jr. currently setting the fastest lap of the race with 42.782.
Again, early laps is a much longer race. As we know, all the mechanics making their call on what they want to go in terms of tire pressure and knowing that it's going to be a longer race than they ran in the heat races and the pre-final. But again, let's see what happens now with Jake Drew now out leading this next group. They must work together. And again, we talked about this when the drivers were trying to push to see if they could get to Malkit. The guy out front needs to be trusted by the guy behind him. Do you have enough pace to lead this train back to Jeremy Fletcher? If not, I may consider trying to go by. Listen, Jake Drew is the guy that's going to be starting on the pole for the SV Pro race. He knows his way around this track. They haven't made a lot of changes on the car. He'll be the Pied Piper that will take them there. It all depends. We'll start looking at splits. We'll start looking at if they have enough pace, because right now the guys further back behind those guys running second and third are going to start thinking about themselves to try to get back up there.
And right now they're not running quick enough times. It's about 2/10 of a second delta between Fletcher and Drew. Drew falling back from Jeremy Fletcher. He doesn't look like he has it. Meanwhile, Van Schev, DeTullio, they're down in those 42.7s. They may have the pace.
This is an unbelievable thing. We obviously saw that happen with Malkin able to pull away. Jeremy Fletcher is a guy, you look at his pedigree over the last couple of years. He's moved on to run in the Mazda MX-5 Cup Series, running in the Toyota GR Cup as well. But just a couple of years ago, this guy dominated both junior categories at the SCUSA Super Nationals, so he won both races. Not many people have been able to do that. He knows how to get around these street circuits and these temporary parking lot courses. So, man, I just feel like this is a carbon copy of what we saw with Malkin. They just may never have enough to go get Fletcher.
And DeTullio, the one that wants to try to press the advantage here, he might have got to move on Alexander Van Schev to move up into 3rd place. Now DeTullio with a big move to the inside, backs out of it. That may have opened up the door for Colin Lloyd to make a run on Van Schev. Van Schev able to hold it off, but a lot of aggression coming down into turn 10. They're going to stream back across the line right now. DeTullio going to try to sweep wide around the outside, looking for a little bit of a crossover on Jake Drew, but Drew covers off that inside. No room at the end.
Yeah, again, here's where we are, right? Last time by, Fletcher was quicker than Drew by over 1/10 of a second. This is essentially a battle for second. Exactly what we saw in that race with Malkit. Again, they're going to scrap their way out here because you got guys like Van Schev, you got Lloyd, you got Jonathan Ports coming from 10th up to 6th. These guys are going to scrap it out 2 by 2 coming out of turn number 8 and 9. Yeah, this is like the last lap, but there's not going for the race lead.
No, and DeTullio with a very sneaky move down into turn 9. I didn't think that was possible, but he got it done. So move DeTullio up into P2. Van Schev followed him on through. I think Jake Drew has fallen down to 7th as a result of that. Just lost all kinds of momentum. And there you see what you were talking about a little earlier, is that's Alessandro DeTullio really running that traditional racing line, trying to ignore everything behind him and just get up ahead.
Well, sooner or later, somebody's going to have to let it happen. There's Sebastian Garzone right there. Again, some of the fighting further back. There's Colin Lloyd making a move to the inside of Van Schev. Again, Van Schev, his first major event here as a senior driver, ran all year long as a junior, won countless races here in 2025, but like Turner Brown, jumping up into the senior category here this week and kind of learn the guys around you. We talked about the fact that wherever you are on the racetrack, you're learning the guys you're racing with. Van Schev is now racing with these drivers he's kind of been looking up to for the last couple of years, right? On the fence watching these senior races. Now he's wheel to wheel with these guys. But yeah, like you said, DeTullio's got to be the guy to push. Right now, they lost 0.6 of a second last lap. It's a 5-second lead already. There's still a full, like I was looking at the time, there's a full heat race still to run, and Fletcher is gone.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's barely in the shot. Yeah. You can see him going down the back straightaway there while DeTullio is exiting turn 8. Let's see if Colin Lloyd makes a move. Yes, he does. Down into turn 10. Barely pulls it off. But Lloyd doesn't want to wait around. He wants to be the one to try to chase that rabbit up in front. But that allows for the likes of Van Schev, Ports, Hand to close back in.
Yeah, Colin Lloyd and the T1D Racers machine. A fantastic story. Racing with type 1 diabetes. An absolute fantastic pilot. And again, all those challenges that he has throughout the weekend. We did an article on him on eKarting News last year. It's just amazing what he's able to do. But to be up front right now here, running in that second spot, trying to see if he can't be the guy that potentially runs down Fletcher. I almost feel like that storyline, DJ, of trying to run down the leader is pretty much gone. I would love to have said that maybe somebody might have stepped up and worked together. At this point, with a 5.7 second lead, we're going to be watching this. Sadly for Jeremy Fletcher, he's not going to get much spotlight.
No, he's not. We know he's there, and we'll give him his due. We'll definitely give him that winner interview, and he'll be able to take home the hardware at the end of the day. But it looks like we have a waved yellow on the track. Something happened in front. Let's wait and see what it is.
No yellow in 5. Oh, there it is.
There it is. Yeah, it's a barrier break.
An issue coming out of turn number 4, the 3-4 on the outside of the racetrack there. So, indeed, had to pick that up quickly. But yeah, we're going to be focusing on this battle for the final 4 spots on the podium, right? 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Right now, it's Lloyd, DeTulio, Ports in hand. And shout out to Jonathan Ports. Started 10th, worked his way up now up into the 4th position. We know how good he was during the heat races. Led for a time, won at least one heat race, I believe. A little further back in the pre-final after the issues at the end of that race. But nonetheless, he's come up to make a name for himself. And there he is right there on P4.
Yeah, right behind Alessandro DeTulio, who we talked about a little bit earlier in the session. Very, very bright horizons for that young driver. Probably moving up to Indy next year, it sounds like. And so he's going to be a big name to follow. Real gaggle of cars. Noah's Ark coming down through 6 and into turn 7.
That's James Overbeck, Sebastian Garzone, Oliver Marak, Carter Herrera. Oh, too wide coming into turn number 6. Man, not a lot of room there. Kind of dive back over to turn number 7.
No, not a lot of room at all. That's a very simultaneously slow and fast section of the track, if that makes sense at all. But I love what Colin Lloyd is doing here. He's starting to pull a little bit of a gap. He knows that DeTulio, Ports has been able to get by him, but that battle continues to fire off, and he is just trying to will that number 961 forward to get loose of this fight.
Colin runs for the Velocity Racing team on the Sodi cart for Sodi Racing USA as well. And I'll tell you, to be there in front of the drivers he's got going on, very impressive here today. Here comes Chase Hand trying to get back up into the fight as well as he's able to slide by Alessandro DeTulio as we have essentially about 6 or 7 drivers in that group from 2nd on back. You see the 5 make it 6, so there's 5 there. And then the driver in 7th, Dean Peterson. He's up by over a 1.5 on Jake Drew, who's right in the middle of the front. Right, you see Jake quite a ways back right now. I'm not exactly sure what happened with the car. Tightened up on him a little bit, but the bottom line is he was at one point leading the pack trying to go get Fletcher. Now has fallen away from that front running peloton.
And that's exactly what can happen. You lose that momentum through a couple of these corners and you can just get absolutely railroaded as you try to work your way forward. Move in the back there. I think that's Jesus Vasquez Jr. on Alessandro DeTulio. Yes, it is. Vasquez Jr. able to get the move that'll bump him up into the top 5. And now DeTulio is going to have to look at another cart in front of him.
Fast lap of the race right now. Jonathan Ports of the Nelton Race Concepts, number 905, started 10th, has got himself now up into the 3rd spot, +7 on the day so far. He's chasing down Colin Lloyd, so watch for Ports to potentially try to get himself into 2nd. Fletcher now leads by 5.1 seconds. A massive job for him, although he did lose a little bit to Lloyd last time, 2/10 of a second. The gap that Fletcher has right now, an absolute cruise control run on the Mike Manning karting number 913.
Yeah, 5.1 seconds. Nothing short of remarkable. And there is the visual representation of that gap. As we said this before when we were talking about some drivers earlier, Jeremy Fletcher's in his own zip code right now. He is just absolutely dominant. But Colin Lloyd, meanwhile, has a lot to worry about behind him. Jonathan Ports trying to close in. Not quite close enough to send a move down into turns 1 and 2. And again, Lloyd being a little bit defensive on that line, just holding that inside, not giving Ports even an inkling of an opportunity.
Again, we're still a long way to go here on this one. Putting the head down. Colin Lloyd trying to see if he can't pull away. Again, you can see them start to stretch away a little bit. Ports in hand, right? The gap then back to Jesus Vasquez, a little over a half a second now. So the front group there of this pack, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, trying to stretch away. You saw that the hand had a little look over the shoulder there. How much room do I have to potentially play and to go after Ports here? We'll see how that plays out. But again, Jeremy Fletcher, let's throw this out there. If you look at lap times, he's not the fastest driver on the racetrack right now, and neither was he really coming out of the gate. It's not like he came out and blew everybody away by a couple tenths of a second a lap. He pulled that gap over the first couple of laps, and then everybody, automatically, they were in defensive the first time down the back straightaway. So it really played more to the mindset and the strategy and the approach of the guys behind him more than just the pace put down by Fletcher.
Yeah, and we saw Fletcher in some of the heat races really have to scrap and fight for those positions. Wasn't necessarily a dominant force like this, but to your point, Rob, it was just recognizing I've got the opportunity to go. I'm going to push as hard as I can here early on. And as you said early on in the day, when you start these races, the tire pressure is a little bit lower, harder of a kart to control, and it's really a testament to the driver if they're able to maximize in those challenging conditions.
Yeah, looking at Fletcher's lap times now, 42.467 was his best. Based on overall lap times, about 2/10 off of the fast lap laid down by Ports, but he's running lap times within a couple tenths of a second, right? All right, maybe 1 to 2 tenths of a second. He's just comfortable hitting the marks. No challenge whatsoever. He's not having to worry about overcooking a corner or really driving it hard in. He can just be out there being nice and smooth. It's a 4.1 second lead. He's lost a little bit of time. But as you know, if you look at the time, we're closing in to the end of this one. Maybe 4 laps to go. Just over a minute remaining before we see that time clock go to 0 and then go to 2 laps after that. So right now, Fletcher cruising potentially to a race win.
Yeah, and Colin Lloyd, meanwhile, really having to still defend here from Jonathan Ports. I think he's feeling that pressure. A rare glance behind there from Jeremy Fletcher. Just going,
might as well.
How far behind are these guys?
Exactly. You would never go. Oh! Big contact, drivers together over in turn number 1. Archer Eversman being one. I want to say it's both of the Apex cars that are probably Axis Kart Sport cars. That's the 970 over as well. So a couple of drivers over. Who is the 970? I know Archer Eversman was one of the drivers in the 970. Oh, that's Caden O'Connor. Caden was running 21st. He came in through the last chance qualifier. 3 drivers involved in that incident in turn number 1. That
may be a seat on the naughty step there.
That's going to be a pass under yellow, I believe, right there, because the yellow flag was definitely flying at start, finish, and into that corner. So the pass by Jonathan Ports potentially looked at by race control. Yellow flags were flying there. He made a move to the inside.
And it did look like the track was clear, but it doesn't matter if the track was clear or not. If that yellow flag is out, you cannot make a pass.
Let's see if we can potentially get a replay and look at that. If we could see them coming across the line. No, we're not going to be able to get that one for you, folks. But indeed, race control will definitely look at that. They'll be able to go back and look at coverage of the broadcast here to see whether or not that yellow was flying. How about 2 to go? I think this time by. Port still runs in second. The lead now down to 3.6 seconds. They're closing a little bit at a time on Fletcher, but I think Fletcher's just in cruise control right now.
He doesn't need to push. Although I say that, and when he crossed over the line, we did see that characteristic duck, willing the kart forward and minimizing that drag coefficient as much as possible. But in this battle for P2, it is Ports, Lloyd, Hand, Vasquez, and Tulio. They run right there. Good run here for Colin Lloyd. I don't know if he's going to be quite close enough to send a move to the inside. Ports certainly thought so as he went defensive into 10.
So here you go, folks, the battle for the final spots on the podium. Jeremy Fletcher looks to have things locked and loaded here as the race winner. He sees the white flag coming across the line, but here's the final lap to see who comes away with it. Jonathan Ports, a pending penalty we'll see for passing under yellow, but nothing as of yet. He runs second. Colin Lloyd in third. Chase Hand fourth. Jesus Vasquez fifth. And Alessandro Di Tullio at the tail of that group. One of these drivers is not going to finish on the podium. Who will it be? Good run here for Ports as he comes his way through turns 6 and turn 7.
He's got to push here. Big move down to the inside there for Colin Lloyd. I'm not sure if that was offensive or defensive as Chase Hand was right up behind him. Excuse me, that was Hand on the defensive move. Vasquez Jr. sending it. Now Hand goes defensive again. Vasquez Jr. going to try to swing it around the outside, but he's going to lose a position there potentially to Alessandro Di Tullio. They're bumping and banging. I think Di Tullio was able to sneak that away from him. And there is the victory. There is the fist bump for Jeremy Fletcher, Jonathan Ports, Colin Lloyd, your provisional top 3.
Fantastic drive for Jeremy Fletcher, 3.2 seconds. The margin at the line. Fletcher was chased by Colin Lloyd to the line. Chase Hand's defensive run with Vasquez behind him set up Alessandro Di Tullio to do a nice big run from the outside and beat I believe, Vasquez to the apex of turn 11, was able to get out of the corner cleanly. Alessandro Di Tullio bumping himself up into 5th on the unofficial results from this one. As we said, potentially that pass under yellow. I'm sure they'll look at that. But Fletcher, Ports, Hand, Lloyd, Hand, and Di Tullio, your unofficial top 5 there. We'll see Jeremy Fletcher. That's actually not Fletcher there. That's Ports. So Jeremy Fletcher rolling in here. Outside the top 5, Vasquez Jr. finishing 16th. Peterson 7th. Jake Drew fell back to 8th. James Overbeck up into 9th spot plus 6. And Oliver Marak up 4, working his way into the top 10. Other big moves. Theo Kakati going up 14 spots. 30th up to 16th for him. Plus 21 for Dylan Dransfeld. Started 40th. Dead last. How about 19th? Split the difference, got into the top 20. Great run for Dylan Dransfeld from deep in the field.
Absolutely love to see that for Dransfeld now, and it sounds like our man on the ground, Jackson Lambros, is ready to give us some updates from the scales. Jackson, let's hear from these drivers.
Let's start with your P3 finisher here, Colin Lloyd. Colin, talking about kind of the complications in getting this kart set up fully on Saturday. You clearly got something dialed in here because 6 positions forward for you on track.
Yeah, it was pretty good. We made a couple changes for the final, and I think it went really good. Kind of just watched Jeremy drive away from the front group, but I did what I could, and I think that's a pretty good finish for us.
Talking with some of the Orsalon guys on just how difficult it is for you to make moves forward. How important is it? How far ahead do you need to think here to get moves?
You always need to think about going forward no matter what. If you keep looking back, you're obviously going to fall back, and you need to keep your head forward all the time.
Congratulations, my friend. Going over here to Jonathan Ports, if I can have you walk over here, my friend. P2 finish, and it was a melee out there, but 9 positions gained for you for NRC. How chaotic was it out there?
Yeah, there's a lot of chaos, but I'm just glad we could drive it up there.
I know you're going back and forth with school and on-track stuff right now, so for you to sneak in a national podium at the end of your 2025, how big of a deal is that for you?
Yeah, it's huge. We've been working towards this for a long time, and, I'm super glad that I could do it for the team. I just want to thank everybody over at NRC, Aaron Nelton and his family. I want to thank Stepanova Nikhil, and I want to thank Josh Pearson, and I want to thank all my friends, especially my mechanic, Jacob Hudson, lifelong friend. I'm just super happy we could do it.
Congrats, JP.
Thank you.
Big family at Nilton. Let's get your race winner, though. Jeremy Fletcher for Mike Manning Racing. And Jeremy, a picture-perfect 2025 in MX5 Cup. You walk away with it and close your year on one of the big ones you haven't gotten yet. What emotions are starting to hit you here?
Yeah, that's a big one off the chest. I can't thank Mike Manning, Michelle Manning, the entire whole Manning family. Manning Power that provided me the motor to get it done. We got a good jump and kind of put our head down. Thanks to Chase Gassioli for arguing with me on tire pressure for about 30 minutes. Glad to get that one done. And, yeah, hope I made you proud, ZCD, at home. I know you're watching, and, yeah, just glad I could get this one done.
You had a boring race, and I mean that in the best way possible. 5 seconds over the remainder of this field. At what point was it no longer looking over the shoulder and just head down, build that gap?
Yeah, I looked back and didn't see anybody and thought I was seeing things after about lap 2, and I knew we were higher on pressure, so I just wanted to put my head down, do what I could. I knew they were catching me at the end pretty heavy, and I just thought I'd try to hit my marks, do the best I could, and keep it in one piece, bring it home.
You're a ROK Cup champion, my friend. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
DJ.
And a great run there for him. He will be very, very pleased. You could hear that confidence just kind of oozing from Jeremy Fletcher. And Rob, the driver he pointed out to, ZCD,
Yeah, Zachary Clayman DeMello was scheduled to drive that car here this week and wasn't able to make it down here to Vegas this weekend. So, hey, look, who we're going to grab? Let's get this Jeremy Fletcher kid. So Jeremy gets kind of drafted in to take Zachary's spot in that cart, that number 913. But, again, another cool thing I picked up right there was, again, talking about the fact of the move they made on tire pressure, electing to go a little higher on the tire pressure. He said he and Chase Gassioli were talking about it. You go higher on pressure, you're going to be quicker out of the gate, but it's going to fall off at the end. They went higher on the tire pressure, allowed him to get out of the gate strong, got a little bit of a gap early, and when that happened, the mindset switched for the drivers behind him. Instead of those guys working together, pushing as a train to try to close back up on a Fletcher, the minute they dropped the gloves and started battling for second, Fletcher was gone. He admitted that how much he was slowing down. He had a 5-second lead at one point, DJ. It ended up being 3.2 seconds. He knows it was falling off at the end, but he still had enough to hold on.
Well, and that's exactly what he was talking about there with running those higher pressures at the beginning, and he knew he had to maximize at the start as they got himself forward. But great run for Jeremy Fletcher here as we move on into the next race of the day, race number 2 in the afternoon. It's ROK Micro. It's the kids headed out to the track, Rob.
Yeah, let's have a look at the field right now as they get set to go for ROK Micro. It is Lennox Lockhart started on the pole position. Very impressive in all the races. He is set to rock here. He'll start alongside Chase Ridding, another driver has stepped things up here this weekend. Ridding able to go to the front in one of the heat races as well. Lockhart and Ridding on row 1. Liam Francisco will start third alongside Alvaro Medeiros. That'll be row 2, while Axel Tibbs and Bo Wyatt will be on row number 3. Samuel Cheveri going to start 7th. Braxton Shiflett in 8th. Caden Cladera and Polo Santos round out your top 10. One more lap around to get some heat built into these Levanto tires. Let's look at the remainder of the field. Aiden Go in the 78 starting 11th alongside Leandro Ramirez, while Jack Katowski and Max Santana will be on row number 7. Ajax Capitan Garduna starting 15th alongside Emmett Dalton, while it'll be Dutch Westbrook and Tristan Francisco on row number 9. Westbrook all the way back in 17th. I have a feeling we'll be talking about him inside the top 5 before this is all said and done. Back to row number 10, Trey Sanders on the inside, Shep Sullivan on the outside, Andres Marcelo Pena and George Ho, row 11, Bernardo Nascimento starting at the tail of the field. 23 drivers set to go. Lennox Lockhart's going to lead him to the line. Rittering along the outside, Francisco and Medeiros on row 2. DJ, the youngest drivers here at ROK Vegas, about to put on a show to see who comes away as this year's champion.
Yeah, and I think you've got to circle the front 2 at the beginning of this field. Lockhart and Rittering, they have been the class of the field this entire weekend long. That doesn't mean that the likes of Francisco, Medeiros, Tibbs, Wyatt can't sneak their way up there, but if you've got to put money down, as you do in Vegas, it's got to go on Lockhart or Rittering. All right, here they come into the starting zone, into the 2 perfect columns, lining their way up. Lockhart on right with the red helmet, and here we go. Green flag in the air. It's a good getaway for that inside line. Rittering going to lose 1 position potentially to Medeiros. I think he's going to hold out as Axel Tibbs tries to make a little bit of a play against him, and it's going to be Lockhart, Medeiros, Rittering as they come into turn 6 and 7.
You saw a little bit of contact, little chaos further back. Drivers getting checked up. Everybody, thankfully, though, cleanly through 3-4 all the way to 5. And now we find ourselves for the first time here in turn number 8. They'll work their way through 8, the chicane 9 onto the back straightaway, and indeed underway with the drivers here in micro. We'll see how things shake down for the opening laps. One pass a little further back there. Driver going from 3rd to 2nd. Lennox Lockhart out front to start the day. Let's have a look as they come out of turn number 13. We'll give you the top 10 as they come across the line to begin this 10-minute plus 2-lap race. Out front as your leader with a gap of 0.3 of a second. Lennox Lockhart over Chase Rittering. The front 2 drivers hold those spots. Alvaro Medeiros into 2nd. Tibbs 3rd. Aiden Go up a spot. Leandro Ramirez up 2 positions. Liam Francisco falling back to 7th. Jack Katowski up a couple of spots, 10th to 8th for Jack. And what did I say about Dutch Westbrook? How about 14th to 9th on the opening circuit? +5.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Oh, and there's cart number 8 off and over the wall, getting flipped on over there as they go. And
James Ordonez.
Okay, there we go. Hate to see that for James. We've also got the 32 having some issues as well. That's Andres Marcelo Pena, it looks like. But we've got to battle up for the lead here. Lockhart and Rittering going at it as Rittering tries to make the attack. Doesn't make a move down into turn 1, but Medeiros and Go now going at it. Aiden Go looking particularly fast here early on.
Yeah, he's made some moves working his way forward. One spot on that last lap started in 11th, so I love what Aiden Go is doing right now, moving his way forward. Jack Katowski, a driver on the move as well. I will say this. Do we see a 2-driver breakaway right now? Lennox Lockhart, Chase Rittering. They've got themselves about a half a second. Let's see if Chase just stays right there. There's an opportunity for that beautiful 2-driver breakaway. If you can't do what Isaac Malkit and Jeremy Fletcher did, was break away by yourself, you love that 2-driver breakaway. Pull away, then it becomes a one-on-one battle over the last couple laps. That's the key right now. Lockhart and Rittering with a chance at doing it, but Alvaro Medeiros and Aiden Go have other thoughts on that.
And I think here, especially with Aiden Go, starting to put a little bit of a gap between himself and Medeiros, this could be the tough situation. Go can be putting pressure to the back of Rittering before we know it. And I think that is the last thing that Rittering and Lockhart want to see have happen. And that's why I think partially we haven't seen a move here from Chase Rittering.
Listen, there's nothing that Chase will gain by going to the lead right now. He'll just bring everybody back in. Stay where you are. Try to push away. You can see the 78 to Go. Very, very quick working his way up. Dutch Westbrook's already up to 7th, so he's already +8. Like I said, he's on the move as well. So these drivers up front need to work together, although Aiden Go, I'll tell you, good for him. He is up on the wheel. In fact, just went purple, using that little bit of draft that he can. 46.140 last time by. How about a 48.891 this time by? He goes up into 30s right there as well as we know. But the fast lap now, Dutch Westbrook, 45.820, 2/10 quicker than the leader. Westbrook's rolling from P7.
Yeah, he is really starting to move his way forward, and he doesn't have a whole lot of space between himself and Axel Tibbs in front of him. Only 64 thousandths of a second as they crossed over the line. That's Dutch Westbrook on your screen right now in the number 33 cart. Taking a look to the back of Axel Tibbs in the 45. Westbrook thought about a move down to the inside, but decided not to go for it. Same can be said for Chase Rittering up in front, and that allows Aiden Go to officially enter into this battle. We go down to Jackson for an update.
Let's rewind a little bit and try and figure out what happened with that crash. James Ordonez ramping off the tail of AJ Calva. You see AJ a little bit further down. James Ordonez, no EMS checkout just yet, but has been given the thumbs up from ROK officials. And I'm watching him walk under his own power right now. So definitely banged up, but looks to be okay for the time. DJ.
All right, good. That's what we want to hear. Obviously, the worst part of motor racing are those crashes, and we do not want to see anybody hurt. Glad to hear he got the thumbs up.
3-driver breakaway out front right now with Lockhart, Rittering, and Go. And here we make the first moves finally. Yeah, Chase Rittering now to the lead. Book it at the end of the straightaway. He brings Aiden Go with him. Lennox Lockhart goes back into third. That little battle may help Alvaro Mardiros as well close it. You see there's fourth and fifth. Decent gap back from fifth to sixth as they come across the line. Call that just over a second from Katowski back to Liam Francisco. So we may have a 6-driver battle here coming up soon. That is, if these front 3 drivers don't just hook up and bail away from everybody else.
Well, we're going to have to see how it plays. I mean, Rittering right now in the lead, and Aiden Go doesn't have any interest in sticking behind as he's going to bring Lennox Lockhart along with him. So reorder that front 3 is Aiden Go, Lennox Lockhart, and Chase Rittering. Medeiros now into the battle. Here comes an attack to the outside from Chase Rittering. That's not going to go. Go now cycles back into P3 as everything just continues to shift and shuffle here. Medeiros and Westbrook into this battle as well, and Katowski not too far behind.
So much for that 3-driver breakaway out front, right? They start going at each other and make it 5. It's going to be 6 pretty soon. Dutch Westbrook's in there. Jack Katowski's in there. Again, they've got about a second on Liam Francisco, Axel Tibbs, and Samuel Cheveri. So really could be a 6-driver battle here right now. There's a move a little further back. I think Katowski may have went by Westbrook coming from 5 over to 6. So again, there he is right there in that Viral Art machine. I'll tell you, Jack Katowski on the move as well. He started back in 11th. He's now up to P5 plus 6 for Katowski. 6-driver lead. Little look by Medeiros to the inside at Go. Thought better of it.
Yeah, thought better of it. I think that was one of those situations. Just maybe seeing if he had elicited a response, elicited a mistake there. I like the heads up. Keep an eye here on Dutch Westbrook. Medeiros goes very, very defensive. Westbrook down to the inside of turn 1 into turn 2. Textbook maneuver. Little bit of a shove from behind from Medeiros, but that moves Dutch Westbrook up into P3. You called that one, Rob.
Yeah, Medeiros moved over a bit, but stopped, and then Westbrook said, I'm coming anyway. So went all the way to the inside of the racetrack, got the job done. So a great pass there as well for Dutch Westbrook. I talked about the fact that he started all the way back in 15th. We'd be talking about him in the top 5. I didn't know it was going to be only 8 laps in, but Westbrook, I think, we talked a lot about him putting fast laps up, a lot of P1 laps, purple laps. Man, I'll tell you, he's a chance to, I think, win this. I'm not going to throw it out that he might not be the guy on top of the podium when it's all said and done.
I don't think you're wrong in that assessment, especially with the speed that he has shown. All right, so to re-rack and restack here, it's Lockhart, Rittering, Westbrook, Katowski, Go, Medeiros, and then Liam Francisco trying to hold into the back there, but he's losing a little bit of time. Battles farther back in the field. That's going to be Go and Medeiros trying to sort themselves out for about the 5th place position.
And this is it. Remember, these guys were nose to tail just a couple of laps ago. All of a sudden, the 3 drivers have broken away. When you start making those passes in 5, where you sacrifice the entry and the exit, you dive low, you can't get out quite as quickly, all of a sudden that gap comes. So here we are with a 3-driver breakaway with Dutch Westbrook at the tail of that group. Still Lennox Lockhart and Chase Ritter in your front row, somehow fighting their way back to the front. But from all the way from the inside of row number 8, starting 15th, Dutch Westbrook. Fast lap of the race right now, a 45.728. That came back on lap number 5. We're working lap number 10. I'm going to say probably 5 or 6 laps to go with just 2 minutes plus 2 laps remaining on this one. This is going to play out very nicely. Lockhart with a little bit of an advantage this time, coming through turn number 6 and turn number 7. So it's got a bit of a gap here now, but that's not going to last very long. That draft is going to bring these guys right back up when we get over to turn number 10.
You read my mind on that. Rittering going to tuck in behind here. Westbrook behind him. Meanwhile, as that happens, the battle for P4 starting to fire off as well. Medeiros go and Katowski really starting to slice and dice. Here they come through Switchback City, down through turn 13. Everybody running a little bit wider there, and I think these top 3 have separated just enough that we're not going to see a move coming down into turn 1 from them, although differing lines. I like what Westbrook just did there, tried to diamond off that corner as Medeiros and Katowski fight it out just a little bit more, and I think Medeiros has got the upper hand.
I have a feeling you're going to see a move out of Dutch Westbrook here pretty soon. Watching this clock kind of come down a bit, knowing the fact that we're only a handful of laps from the end of this one. He's been able to chase these drivers down. He had to look at it for a second. The driver goes around. That's the number 6 who's gone around on track. Samuel Cheveri around. He was running in the 9th position, so a shame for Samuel there, who was coming home for very likely a top 10 run. Indeed, there's a pass right there. Is that Rittering back to the lead?
No, that's Westbrook.
Is that Westbrook?
Yep.
Get out of town.
15th to 1st.
No way. Dutch Westbrook to P1. Back down to the inside, though, comes Lockhart. Book it to the inside of turn 1. But Westbrook goes to P2. Just what I was saying. Back to the inside of turn 5. Book it again. Westbrook back to the front.
Oh, I love it. Slicing and dicing and slicing. And Westbrook says, come on, help me out here. We can break away from Chase Rittering if we want to. We're going to have to see if Lockhart decides to indulge him in that, but they've got to watch out. If they keep fighting here, Alvaro Medeiros is going to get involved in this very, very quickly. That green helmeted Carter is there, comes a move down to the inside. Lockhart trying to see if he can get a move on Westbrook. That's going to open up the door for Chase Rittering.
We saw that exact same move back in the VLR senior category, coming through there, diving it back into the inside. Great job for Rittering to get to the inside. That's going to give Westbrook a little room here right now. 2 to go. They came in just enough time to get the 2 laps remaining. What kind of a lead does Westbrook have? It is about 0.3 of a second. He'll have to run race laps here right now, and the only thing that could help him here is if Lockhart tries to make that move on Ritter, and he has to if he wants to win. He's got to get back to second, and right now Westbrook with a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, Westbrook's just going to revel in that as much as he can. Not quite close enough through turn 8, now into turn 9. Westbrook continues to hold his advantage. Let's see if Lockhart goes to the inside here of turn 10 on Rittering. No, he's going to be smart about it. He wants to wait. I think Lockhart is thinking about win, not thinking about P2.
He's got to get to second, though. It's really hard to win from third here on the final lap. You have to make a pass, then get by. One more lap for Dutch Westbrook. He seems to be the guy in the catbird seat right now. Big, wide racing line. Look at the rocket. He's going to come out of this corner. Down to the inside comes Rittering. He has a bit of a look, but they're nowhere near close enough. Dutch Westbrook started back in 15th position in the Team Bennett number 33. Worked his way forward methodically, pass after pass. Found himself in third, made the move to second. They're battling now for P2 as Rittering and Lockhart going wheel to wheel. Here comes Medeiros as well, but the 33 of Dutch Westbrook is going to come away with a massive race win. Cannot believe the drive from 15th. I said we were going to be talking about him in the top 5. How about top step of the box, the winner in micro, Dutch Westbrook.
And there you can see the sheer jubilation from Dutch Westbrook. Chase Rittering able to hold off a frenetic attack from Lennox. Lockhart, Medeiros fighting back from those last couple of moments, and Aiden Go doing a heck of a job as well. But we cannot say enough about Dutch Westbrook. Absolutely incredible. As we are going to take a quick commercial break. Well, we're going to do a quick award given out here that we do give every year. So we're going to head on down to Victory Lane and take care of that real quickly. We're down here in Victory Circle for a very special presentation, the Radford Driving Experience, the F4 scholarship that we give out every year. Mike Burrell ready to hand it on to one of our newest and most famous kart drivers that's going to be doing some great things in the future.
Yeah, and this year's winner is Nico Orbezo. So Nico is going to have to go to Radford there in Phoenix in January and learn to drive an F4 car. And he's ready, he tells me he's ready. So I'm going to let DJ talk to him a little bit more about that. But on behalf of Radford Driving School and F4, congratulations and thank you for your support of ROK and everything. And that's one of the criteria we look for. And then just skill and just being a good kid and everything. That's who we want to send. So I'll let Nick talk, or DJ talk to Nico a little more about it, and there we go.
Well, Nico, this is obviously a huge opportunity for you. How excited are you to be able to make the jump up into Formula-style cars?
Oh, I'm so excited.
I love that. And what do you think you're going to be able to carry on that you've learned here in ROK Cup? What's going to be able to transfer that forward when you get into a single-seater type machinery?
Knowing how to turn, late apex, early apex, how to do the corners, braking, everything.
All right. Well, it looks like you've got a bright future ahead of you. We look forward to seeing what you're able to turn around in January, and congratulations again, Nico.
Thank you very much.
We're going to come back and take a look at the moment of sheer jubilation here from your winner, Dutch Westbrook. Rob, this is really what it's all about for these young drivers. Incredible to see how excited this young man was.
Yeah, you think about this right now as he comes out of the final corner here, and the fact that he started 15th, your mindset is, how far forward can I get? Could I win this race? His team's telling him, you have the pace, we have the raw speed, we know we can get it done. You have to have a good opening lap, which he was able to do a fantastic job on that opening circuit, and then to be able to get himself up into the top three, obviously the success there, but just the absolute sheer joy for Dutch Westbrook coming across the line. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Awesome racing. I mean, this is one of the best races that we've seen this afternoon. Really incredible stuff from these young kids. It just shows you that the future of karting in this country and indeed across the globe is exciting and exhilarating. Yeah, we're excited to see these young drivers come in. Remember, they're at the very first step on the ROK Cup USA development ladder, working their way up through micro to mini to the VLR junior category, the GP junior category, eventually into senior. But to see the racecraft of these kids who are so young, we're talking single-digit age. These drivers are absolutely impressive. Yeah, and we're going to go down and talk to a few of them here. Jackson Lambrose, our man on the spot.
Dutch Westbrook, 15th to first. I don't have words for that. I'm curious if you've got any here.
Yes, I do have some. One thing was I got a great start, and then the front started battling, and I caught up. I passed them all. Then when I got to the lead, I pulled away a little, and they started battling behind me, and that's how I got away and I won.
Who do you want to thank at home for making this happen?
My mom, my dad, my mom's family that visited, Cobe, Misty, and Beef.
You're ROK Vegas champion, my friend. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
And DJ, I know we always talk about this, and I'm a broken record when I'm talking about these cadet chassis, but micro engines, smaller drivers, but the action is never small.
No, it is not. And Dutch, by the way, wins the comment of the year with "I have some words."
I have some words to say.
I have some. Bravo to Dutch. Love to see that for him. Rob, all right. Now, we've got to shift gears. I used that pun yesterday, but I'm going to use it again today. We head on into ROK Shifter Masters and Super Masters. Wildly different style of karting. Wildly different way that these karts make their way around the circuit. This is a new kettle of fish. Yeah, we had a lot of fun this morning, of course, watching the Pro Shifter guys get at it. Jacob Gulick coming away with a fantastic victory there. But these are the drivers in the Masters class and the Super Masters class. 32 years of age and older for the Masters drivers, 45 years of age and older for the Super Masters class. They will run, of course, together, be scored separately here. I got some great drivers in this one here. We expect kind of the battle up front that we know with a couple of teammates. Morten Van Tak will be in there as well with Kevin Woods and Patrick O'Neill. Those are drivers actually running in the Super Masters class, potentially going for the overall victory as well, as they have that much speed. So again, 6-speed sequential gearboxes, 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. You're looking at around 40 something horsepower. An absolutely fantastic ride. Karting in and of itself is just a ton of fun, whatever you're driving, whether it's 2-cycle, 4-cycle 206. The shifter karts are the very top. It's like riding a bucking Bronco, right? It's the closest thing you could run to Formula One or an Indy car, and that's to get into a 125cc shifter. That's why so many drivers keep doing it when they're in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, because it's just that kind of a ride. It's that visceral. It's that exciting as you bring yourself around. And what it does in terms of the racing that we've talked about. Now, yesterday and on Friday, we said, we may not see as many passes going down into turn 10. But in some of these slower speed corners, because of the nature of the shifter carts, you're able to drop it down a gear, as you pointed out, and it's going to open up a few more overtaking opportunities.
Yeah, well, single speed, right? That's all you have. You have the one speed, so you're rolling as much momentum as you get into a corner. You let it take a set, and you roll back on the throttle. With a shifter, you can bang into the corner. If it's a tighter corner, you're going from 6th, jamming it down into 2nd. You can even go to 1st if you have to. This is a more wide open racetrack. There's no way, I don't think we're in 1st gear in any corner. But if you make a move to the inside of some guy, you can go that one extra gear. You don't bog the engine down. You can bang one more gear down. That, of course, gives you more revs coming out of the corner. Back on the throttle. You're staying on the pipe. The revs are there. The power's all there. It's just a different way to approach overtaking, knowing that you can get one more gear when you go to the inside.
And the other big thing that is a change from the other series that we've seen, this, of course, being a standing start for these drivers. Seen some drivers run afoul of that earlier on in the weekend.
It's been messy, let's say that.
Yeah, it's been scruffy. But nevertheless, it really does open things up a little bit, changes the dynamic of these starts, as you would imagine it would be.
Yeah, you'll roll up into the starting line, you grab the clutch, you knock it into neutral, essentially get yourself into your starting position. You can let go of the clutch at that point. You're sitting there in neutral. When the guy comes in front of you, the ROK Cup USA race control gentleman will tell you to drop the visor. That's when it's time to go, right? As he walks away, grab the clutch, knock it into 1st, stand on the gas, and then as soon as the lights go out, you got to release that clutch, and it's going to rip away, and the acceleration's fantastic. There's nothing. When I first drove my first shifter back in 2000, the simple getting off the line is because you just start grabbing gears, and there's nothing but power all the way down to turn number 1. It's absolutely fantastic. And I didn't actually talk to the guys, which I probably should have here this weekend. Coming off the line, where do they get to in terms of gear? So they're not all the way up to 6 coming through. They may be only getting to maybe 3rd or 4th gear before they have to go back down into 3rd or 2nd for turn number 2.
And you mentioned him, and we've seen some shots of him here. I want to give a massive, massive shout out to our ROK Cup crew. These guys and gals that work around the track, the officials, the marshals, the track workers, as well as registration, everybody working behind the scenes. Put on this show and make it the spectacular that you see. This is the silent army. These are the folks that don't get the attention that they deserve, but we could not do what we do without them.
And so it's Las Vegas, right? It's 80 degrees out. Yep. Not a lot of wind, thankfully, but 80 degrees out. They're standing on hot pavement all day long. They're out here at 7 o'clock in the morning. They're here till 5 o'clock at night. We gave them a lunch break, thank goodness, in the middle of the day, right? Came in and wolfed down some tacos and back out to the racetrack. But it's the unsung heroes of our sport, these corner workers, all the staff, that put this race on, who are here a week before the racetrack even started coming together. They'll be here tearing things down. Yep. These are the people that put this race on. Everybody gets to go racing and having a good time. The families are here, but this is all about the fact that this race wouldn't come on without the staff and the officials here.
Yeah, and we are internally thankful for them as they get their way through. Rob, walk us through how these drivers are going to line up here, because this is going to be interesting.
As I said before, we got a couple of Supermasters drivers super fast. It's Kevin Woods and Morn Von Tock on the front row. Woods for Ron White Racing, Morn Von Tock for his own VTM Racing Engines team. Hunter Hagenbuck in the 524, the top driver in the actual Masters category. He'll start third in the GFC car alongside another Supermasters driver, Patrick O'Neill in the Ron White Racing number 64. Row number 2, we've got Supermasters driver Corey Matthews on the inside, and then Masters driver Luis Quinones on the outside. Row 4 again, splitting them. We've got Sergio Rodriguez on the inside, Ryan Coberly on the outside. Rodriguez starting 7th, Coberly starting in 8th. Jesus Lopez alongside Corey Eberhardt on row 10, or row 5, 9th and 10th, and Edgardo Ortiz and Chris Solutius on row number 6. 12 drivers set to go. 4 of them are Masters, 8 of them are Supermasters drivers. Kevin Woods will be leading them off the line when they come here and see those lights.
And as you said yesterday, yes, there are these designations between Masters and Supermasters, but rest assured, Hunter Hagenbuck is going to be fighting for the overall win, because you want those bragging rights. You 100%. Want that. Yes, you're going to win Masters, but you want to be in the one that takes that checkered flag first. As Kevin Woods and Morn Von Tock come into the starting grid.
Yeah, we know that Hagenbuck was right there in the middle of the fray with Woods and Van Tock. One of the issues that will bring, of course, him now back into the main event for this one is the fact that Patrick O'Neill wrecked in the last heat race. He started further back and had to work his way forward up to P4. Now, back in the front 2 rows, he'll be on the outside behind Morn Von Tock. Watch for Patrick O'Neill to potentially have the pace to run for the win here. There's that official I talked about at the front of the grid. He'll tell the drivers to put the visors down. Right there. He'll get off the track. We'll go to the lights. Standing start. Shifter Master, Super Master, lights are out. Green, 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 racing into turn number 1.
And it's Van Tak that gets a really good getaway. Is he going to be up into the lead over Kevin Woods as they work their way down into turn 5 for the first time? I don't quite think so. Van Tak wasn't able to do it. Woods is able to fight back on him, but O'Neal already making the jump up into P3. Hunter Hagenbuck is down into P4, right into the clutches of Luis Quinones, and that could be a battle for the Masters category.
And away we go. You saw a little bit further back there. Corey Matthews showing a nose to the inside. The drivers all getting themselves out at turn number 8 and 9 for the first time. Down the back straightaway, Kevin Woods, one of the top drivers you'll see up at the ROK program at Sonoma Raceway, leading the way for the opening circuit here as they'll come out here and across the line. And they're right there. Big start as well for Van Tak. Got off the line nicely. Actually, pretty good lap there. He's only about 4/10 back. Feels like we're lining up a top 3 runaway, are we not? Yep, with Patrick O'Neal right there. Already a full second on Luis Quinones as he was able to get by Hagenbuck and Matthews. Quinones now up into P4. That's your Masters leader.
And that's a really rough start there for Hagenbuck. That is all the way down into 6th place behind Corey Matthews. So not the best run for him. We'll have to see if he can recover. We keep our eyes on the top 3, though. Kevin Woods, Morn Van Tak, and Patrick O'Neal diving down into the corner side by side farther back in the field. That's Quinones and Matthews trying to sort themselves out. That's going to allow for Hagenbuck to be right involved in this conversation. And don't forget about Ryan Coberly either.
What is happening here further back? Look at these guys going at it in the Masters and Super Masters shifter category. They were too wide coming out of turn number 3. Shook things up a little bit further back. Good lap there for Ryan Coberly. In that RS kart machine, he works his way up into the 4th spot. Teammate Corey Matthews coming across the line. Both those VTM racing drivers with Morn Van Tak, but they run those beautiful white and red RS kart machines. You see them right there coming out of the corner. The 67 of Coberly and the 5 of Matthews. How about Super Masters drivers? 1, 2, 3, 4 overall.
Love to see that for them. 42 and up, correct?
You know what I say? Old guys rule.
There it is.
45 and up.
45 and up. It's 32 for Masters, 45. There we go. All right, we check back in on the battle for the lead, and it's actually a battle for P2 that we have to keep our eyes on as Kevin Woods has started to be able to pull a little bit of a gap here over Morn Van Tak and Patrick O'Neal.
Yeah, you wonder how long O'Neal's going to let this happen. He does not want to see Kevin Woods pull away. Those two drivers race quite a bit up at Sonoma together, so O'Neal knows exactly what Woods is capable of. He can let him open up. But Morn Van Tak, how tough was it for them to be able to pass him yesterday? He worked so hard on the racetrack in that final heat race where he was just digging hard. We'll see whether or not O'Neal's got anything. Got up on top of the curb coming through turn 11. Really upset the apple cart there on the CRG, and head back down as he works his way here through turn number 1 back to turn 2.
Yeah, just trying to see if there's anything to be had. And there you see in those RS carts that you mentioned from Coberly and Matthews, but Hagenbuck not giving up the ghost. He's going to keep close behind Matthews. Here is your leader, Kevin Woods. Healthy gap of about 1.2 seconds. And Morn Van Tak doing what he did yesterday, frankly, as you said. And what impresses me about that is he wasn't running the most defensive lines that we've seen. He was just quick and on pace.
Yeah, fast enough that he didn't have to defend, and they just weren't able to get a pass done on him. You mentioned Hagenbuck. He was able to get around Luis Quinones, so Hagenbuck has got himself back in to the lead of the Masters category. All 4 Masters drivers running now 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Hagenbuck, Quinones, Lopez, and Rodriguez. Those drivers lined up at Hagenbuck well out in front of them as he's right behind Corey Matthews and Ryan Coberly.
Yeah, it's the battle we were just watching going down into turns 2 and 3. There it is again. Hagenbuck just trying to see if there's anything, but now it looks like it's flipping back a little bit. Matthews able to catch Coberly. This could be a 3-cart battle.
Just wondering whether or not Hagenbuck was going to try to pull the trigger there on Matthews coming into turn number 8. Big run out of turn number 9 as well. Not quite enough. You saw that Matthews is a little on the inside in terms of the turn-in point. These drivers having a good run through turn number 12 and 13 as well. I like this. Great battle right now. That's 6th, 7th, and 8th overall. Rather 4th, 5th, and 6th overall, but it's the 2 Supermasters drivers trying to hold off Hagenbuck.
Hagenbuck coming on strong, looks down to the inside of turn 5. Shutting the door is Corey Matthews, not letting him get by, but that's going to open up the door once again into turn 6 and put Hagenbuck up into the top 5.
Very nicely done. Got a good run out of turn number 5. Dove it down to the inside of turn number 6. Finally able to get the job done. Move the target from the 5 to the 67. He'll look forward, lots of open racetrack to go at it here as he tries to get himself back up into the top 5.
Yeah, and let's see how much he's able to pull away, how much Corey Matthews is potentially holding up Hunter Hagenbuch. That's always my question whenever a driver immediately gets by, is what can that gap be within a lap or 2 laps?
Yeah, how much were you getting held up? How much were you not on the power when you could have gone to the power because you were waiting for the guy in front of you to finally roll on? So, indeed, there's the lead big time there for Kevin Woods. It's about 1.3 seconds now. Woods up front. Still watching this great battle with Hagenbuch and Matthews. You see Coberly just out front. So Ryan Coberly still holding P4 overall and P4 in Supermasters. Hagenbuch laid down the fastest lap as well for the Masters category, 40.675. Oh, it's a 44.53 for Supermasters driver Kevin Woods.
Yeah, Woods really the class of the field here. Oh, Morn Von Tock just took it away from him with a 43.34.
There you go.
So this battle starting to come in. I thought that there was a little bit of a gap starting to close here. And yeah, that's about 2/3 of a second taken out from Morn Von Tock. So this may not be a runaway up at the front of the field.
Yeah, these are the guys a little further back there. That's Quinones, Lopez in the 522, Rodriguez in the 529. This is the battle here for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in the Masters category. They run now 7th, 8th, and 9th overall. Up front there, the first driver through for LFB Racing, that's Luis Quinones. And then the VTM driver Lopez and the other LFB driver Rodriguez. So the 3 of those drivers there, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in the Masters category.
Checking back on that battle for 4th and 5th. Here we go. Hagenbuch, we said how quickly was he going to be able to close. I think it's pretty quick. He is all up behind Ryan Coberly.
Let's see if he does exactly the same thing. Had a good move through this corner. Does he get out well enough? Not quite. That's where he was able to get Matthews a couple laps ago and make that dive and move into turn number 6. But he's hounding Coberly right now, trying to force him into that little bit of a mistake. Just missed that shift, just missed that turn a little bit. Now be there to pounce.
Well, and that's one of the things here with these shifter carts is you do run that risk of there are more things to get wrong with the shifting that you have to do. So there is a wider opportunity to make a mistake, even though we are dealing with the Masters and the Supermasters.
Yeah, 100% true on that. And indeed, you got to stay focused, got to get everything done right. Right now, Woods, Von Tack, O'Neill, 1, 2, 3, Coberly, Hagenbuch, and Matthews, 4, 5, 6.
As there you see the hold off from Ryan Coberly. We check down with Jackson Lambros in pit lane.
So a scary incident earlier on, guys, for James Ordonez, who had a massive flip earlier on. Fortunately, able to get up and walk into the scale line under his own power. Has been checked by trackside EMS. Nothing looking broken at the time, but still some concern for a potential dislocation or something awry in the arms. He'll be transported by parents to local medical.
Hate to hear that for that young driver, but they're at least able to walk away. Anything you can walk away from is a good one. Hunter Hagenbuch, by the way, able to get that move done on Ryan Coberly, so move the Masters driver up into P4 overall.
Yeah, and you know, DJ, anytime it's one of the younger drivers in the paddock and there's an incident, you always take a little bit of extra care, right? A lot of the times they're kind of maybe just scared a little bit, they got banged up a little bit, maybe nothing's wrong, but you want to make sure that you give them a little bit of extra care. If they need to go to the hospital and get checked out, the parents will take them there. You just always want to make sure that they're going to be okay. And awesome to hear that he's good and fine, but always that extra little bit of precaution is kind of the way to go.
Yeah, exactly. As we check back in, that's Kevin Woods up at the front of the field. The gap holding steady at about 1.2 seconds. Morn Von Tock not quite able to close that down as quickly as I thought he was going to.
O'Neill just set fast lap at a 40.261, but has still not been able to close nor get in a position to overtake on Morn Von Tock. You can see it's still a couple of kart lengths as they now go through the shadow of the Rio as we work our way till just about 10 minutes past 2 o'clock here Pacific time in Las Vegas. So the sun's starting to work its way, not so much to the sunset, but it'll work its way behind the Rio, and that starts bringing that shadow over top of the racetrack. That'll make it a little cooler in that particular area of the track as well. But during that quick talk with Jackson, Hunter Hagenbuch was able to get by Ryan Coberly and is quickly pulled away there, so he's up front by, I think, 1.2 seconds. Hagenbuch into the 4th spot overall, the leader in the Masters category over Luis Quinones, Jesus Lopez, and Sergio Rodriguez. Hagenbuch open racetrack now to put his head down and try to come home with this Masters win.
Yeah, he's got 6.4 seconds to try to make up here to Patrick O'Neill and Warren Von Tock. I don't think he's going to be able to close that in the final 4 minutes and 35 seconds, but he's going to try for it and just, at this point, build as much of a gap as he can.
Yeah, if anything, he's kind of on the same pace as them, even maybe a couple of tenths of a second off, so more just trying to keep stretching away from Ryan Colberly to make sure he keeps Luis Quinones well back as well. But yeah, Hunter Hagenbach en route to potential win here in the Master Shifter category. This is not done yet, though. Here's that battle for second as Patrick O'Neill continues to hound Warren Von Tock to try to find a way by for second position. Top 3 drivers separated by just 1.1 seconds right now. And in fact, O'Neill was a couple tenths quicker than Woods on that last lap.
There he goes! And to the outside, brilliant move there to get that done around the outside of turn 10. We said that could be an overtaking opportunity in these shifters, and that's exactly what we saw play out for Patrick O'Neill.
We talk about going around and trying to beat the first guy to the apex of turn number 11, right? If you can dive it in there and set you take over the apex to 11, that right-hander, you're going to be able to come away with it. Now, listen, we've got just over 3.5 minutes plus the 4 laps left. O'Neill, fastest driver on the racetrack. We've already mentioned how fast can a driver pull away from the one they just passed. How much were you getting checked up? Look how far he's already passed Warren Von Tock. It's 7-8 kart lengths right now. We're going to see over the next couple laps if Patrick O'Neill potentially has what it takes to reel in Kevin Woods. Could we see a battle? It was last time by, it was only a second. Look at this. There's O'Neill. He's going to come up in a slower car here. Oh, he's going to get checked up big time here behind one of the Masters. Oh, he gets held up big time with the 27 of Corey Eberhardt. It was 1.2 at the line for O'Neill. Well, maybe 4 kart lengths now.
It's not a whole lot. That's exactly what Patrick O'Neill needed to see, and I can guarantee you Kevin Wood's going to be fuming underneath that helmet. They come down through turn 9, and O'Neill starting to size up his opportunities, look to see if there's an advantage to be had. Closes in, and there it looks like Kevin Woods gains a little bit more ground, but this race has now opened up wide.
Well, I guarantee you Patrick O'Neill saw it happening too as he came out of turn number 2, 3, and 4. So, okay, this is the opportunity I was looking for. I don't even need to hunt him down for 1.2 seconds. He just got 9/10 of a second back there. A real shallow entry to turn 5 there, though, for Patrick O'Neill. No doubt losing some of the X. I'm surprised he went so narrow going into that corner. Kevin Woods using the full racetrack from 5 all the way through the full entry, apex, and exit. He'll pull away a little bit here from the 64.
Yeah, he'll start to gain a little bit of ground. Crucially here, they're going to come up against another one of those lap cars. Edgardo Ortiz in the number 7 kart is going to be up the road. There's Ortiz on your screen. There are your leaders, Kevin Woods and Patrick O'Neill. Gap across the line. Kevin Woods has responded 2/10 up on O'Neill.
Yeah, he was much quicker through turn number 5. Watch the line through 5 here. And look how much more narrow, much more early entry Patrick O'Neill's taken. I'm surprised he's going that early into the corner. When you do that, you just don't give the car a chance to rotate and get back on power out of the corner. I'm very surprised by that shallow entry for Patrick O'Neill.
Yeah, that's much more of an overtaking line than necessarily running to the full speed, as you mentioned. Minute and 20 seconds left on the clock. Woods continues to lead, and then Hunter Hagenbach doing a great job to just hold on to that position in the lead of the Masters category. It is about still 6/10 of a second, or 6 seconds between them, so he's just running in an island runner to himself. The gap has expanded now between Woods and O'Neill. It's 6/10.
And we're looking at the clock winding down as well. Probably 4 laps remaining in this one. As Woods, again, holding that 6/10 of a second lead. The drivers very similarly across the line at 40.247 and 40.261 second laps. So similar lap time, still that over half a second lead. Back onto the straightaway. Warren Von Tock actually took full advantage of that as well. He's closed up a little more too. He's only about 1.4 seconds off the lead. I think he would love to see O'Neill get to the point where he could maybe battle with Kevin Woods, maybe upset the apple cart a little bit, allow Warren Van Tock to get back into it. We'll see.
Yeah, could be, but it did look like there that O'Neill was able to close the gap a little bit, albeit infinitesimally, about 3/100ths of a second, but he was able to close it down a little bit, and that includes with running around Ortiz down into turn 5. Ortiz got out of the way, but it did compromise O'Neill's line ever so slightly. It really looks like O'Neill's closing the gap here. I don't know if Woods had a bad run, but that gap is visibly smaller.
And we're going to see the 2 to go side when they come back around. So this one's almost done here for Super Masters and Masters. The Super Masters drivers dominating the action up front with Woods, O'Neill, and Von Tock. 2 laps remaining. Across the line, 45, 40.384. That was a full tenth of a second for O'Neal. Less than a half a second back. Another shallow entry to turn 5. He's pushing as hard as he can. 2 laps remaining. Can Patrick O'Neal catch up to his Ron White Racing teammate and potentially steal away Rock Vegas victory?
Let's see if he can. They come through turn 8 for the penultimate time, flat out through turn 9. The gap is visibly expanded here at this point for Kevin Woods. He's going to be breathing a little bit easier as he comes to the white flag. Now through 10, 11, and 12 they go. Into turn 13, that long left-hander. White flag in the air for Kevin Woods.
How close does O'Neal get this time? Actually lost about 0.04 of a second. It's still 0.489. Woods has this thing handled right now because remember, you got to get close enough over in turn 10, really the last opportunity to make the pass. He just has to get through here cleanly and gets by one of the slower cars who pulls off to the exit of turn number 6. He had to pinch the exit a little bit. Is that anything for O'Neal? I don't think so. Kevin Woods got the whole shot from the green. I don't think there's anybody chasing him to the end right now as he comes into turn number 10.
I don't think so either. The number 94 brings that car through Switchback City for the final time this weekend. And your winner of the Shifter Supermasters category will be Kevin Woods. Patrick O'Neal takes second. Warren Von Tock will be third. Your Masters champion will be Hunter Hagenbuck, who crosses the line right now.
Hunter Hagenbuck well back there, but a winner in the Masters class ahead of Ryan Coberly and Corey Matthews. Those drivers on the podium in 4th and 5th in Supermasters competition. Sergio Rodriguez coming in ahead of Luis Quinones and Jesus Lopez, the 4 drivers in the Masters class. We'll see all 4 of those drivers on the podium. But again, great run for Kevin Woods. A challenge late, no doubt about it. A slower car, one of the lap cars, made things pretty exciting as well. But there's Kevin Woods. Climbing out of the race car is a Rock Vegas race winner.
He's got to be happy with that. I mean, it wasn't a dominant drive like we've seen from some of the others, but a controlled and measured drive for Woods. Responded to the pressure when he needed to. Didn't get flustered with that lap traffic that came up against him and put him on the back foot. Just held everything together, and love to see that.
Yeah, that was actually Patrick O'Neal came in first. Here's Kevin Woods right here getting out. There's Morton Von Tock as well. The Master Shifter driver saying, hey, we finished another one. Fantastic. Good job, guys. Kevin Woods, very impressive. Whole shot victory. Little bit of a hiccup with the lap car, but nonetheless, Kevin Woods doing a fantastic job to get the victory here in Rock Vegas 2025.
Yep, there goes the balaclava off. Gets himself unzipped, wants to cool down a little bit, and there, as you said, the sort of high fives and how you doings with the teammate there, Patrick O'Neal. Morton Von Tock came over a little bit earlier. We wait for Jackson Lambro as our man on the spot to be able to give us some good information from him.
Let's give these guys more props as well. It's almost 85 degrees trackside here right now for these guys. 45 years of age and up, banging out 23 laps around this bull ring of a racetrack. Again, super tough, high corner speeds. All my props to these guys, my fellow Masters drivers. Impressive run throughout the entire day. Again, in the high heat of the day here at around 220, 83 degrees, 84 degrees trackside. That is a warm run under the Vegas sun and a great drive for Woods, O'Neal, and Von Tock.
Yeah, very impressive. And Hunter Hagenbuck as well, a great drive for him, having to fight back from a little bit of adversity. All right, it looks like we are ready to go down to Jackson Lambros, who's going to talk to our winners.
And the Kevin Woods show in Shifter Masters ends with the CRG driver out on top. And I know it wasn't easy for you because I know how much work you've put into this thing off track. Talk to me about how much this victory means to you.
Viva Las Vegas. Hey, big thanks to the team, Ron White Racing, my mechanic, Jason Toft, my teammates, especially Patty O'Neal. I learned everything from this guy. I owe him everything. And then all the competitors were awesome this week. The event was awesome. Thanks to Rock Cup USA. Amazing week.
You're Rock Cup champion, my friend. Enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
Let's keep it going down here. I need Patty O'Neal to join me because you, my friend, have made it to Ron White 1-2. And it's been a lot of teamwork with this guy right here. Talk to me about the emotions off rip.
A lot of teamwork. I've known Kevin 17 years, Pro Mazda days, through karting. We dice back and forth. We're good teammates, but as you know, in heat number 3, we go for it. There's no team orders or anything. Ron's put a terrific plan together, the engines, whole components. So dedicated. So glad to be in the greatest country in the world, America, in Vegas. And always, when you're on this track starting a race, remember This is the moment. Live in it and suck it up, because not many people in the world get to do this. And thanks to the ROK and all the crew and the flag workers and everything else. Tremendous effort all week long. Congrats.
No, it was kind of a territory war between yourselves and VTM. Talk to me about the communications between yourselves and Kevin before this morning.
Well, we talked about teamwork, obviously, going into this weekend and stuff. And then the third place guy, oh my God, I forget that name, Moran. Yeah, Moran. And he was fast out of the gate. He was sharing similar lap times to me in practice 1, practice 2, and 3. And he was coming. He's a great competitor. Head down, it's all alpha males at the front.
You're sweating like crazy, so I'll let you get out of here, but I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you.
Yes.
Let's keep it going over here and talk to the man himself, the head of the other half, Mr. Von Tuck. It's been a turf war between you and Ron White, and unfortunately you guys up just a couple sticks short. Talk to me about what happened there behind the wheel.
Yeah, I think the tiredness, fitness just got a little bit hold of me there at the end. But I overshot one corner when Patrick came past me. I got some stuff on my tires, and basically after that I just hold on for dear life, my friend.
It's not very frequently are we able to see a shifter field of this size across Masters and Supermasters, and you've brought in a lot of guys from across the country, from out of the country. Talk to me about that effort of bringing this field to make this grid the size that it is.
Yeah, I mean, generally that's VTM's goal. It really is to promote shifter car racing. So even in the clubs and stuff, we try to bring as many people in, and at the same time promote the ROK engine that was a little bit taking a dip, and we try hard to bring it back to life again because it's such an awesome package. And we want to say thank you to ROK Cup USA for doing this event for us. Without them, we would have been sitting at home tonight. This is an awesome event. CRG guys, you guys were awesome, my friend. Thanks for coming. Good job. And then from my whole team, we got 6-7 guys that's sitting with me. I want to thank you guys for supporting VTM. We're all VTM engines, RS, IPK. I want to say thanks to them as well for supplying us with these great go-karts. And for you, for the lovely voice behind the mic, my friend.
I am flattered. Thank you, MVT. We're going to keep it running here really quickly because there's another class winner that I want to talk to briefly, Hunter Hagenbuck. Deeper in the field, but still a champion in the Masters, and it was getting feisty out there. Talk to me about your race behind the wheel, my friend.
Yeah, I had a bit of a slow start. I jumped the clutch a little bit too much, and kind of lugged it, and then had to kind of recover from that. But once the tires came on, I felt like I was kind of getting back into my mode, of just charging down the field.
All of a sudden, it's become 2 for 3 for GFC this weekend across shifter categories. Talk to me about how dialed in this Gary Coltrane machine has been for you.
Oh, it's been great. We've just done some engine changes a little bit here and there, but aside from that, it's a great chassis, and it's been very positive in terms of the feedback when I drive it, and yeah, it's been good.
You're ROK Cup champion, my friend. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
DJ.
Great stuff down on pit lane. Thank you so much for Jackson for getting us that information. Oh.
DJ, that's Masters racing for you.
Yeah, it's great.
I love it. They love being here. Again, I talk about the fact that it's not the micro minis, juniors, seniors who are thinking, hey, I'm going to use this to potentially build my career, to make a move to cars, whatever it may be. Masters drivers here are driving shifter karts because they want to drive shifter karts. They want to drive karts alone. That's it. You felt the emotion out of Kevin Woods. You felt it, of course, out of Patrick O'Neill, always one of the great guys in the sport. And then Moran Von talk about what he puts into the sport to bring people out to run the ROK shifter. It's a fantastic package. Awesome, especially for the Masters guys, right? It's a great shifter kart engine, and he does the work to bring people to this racetrack. Yeah. Of course, ROK Cup USA does the work to have the race. Like he said, he'd be sitting at home if it wasn't for this ROK Vegas event. So shout out to all those guys. But the emotion you got from all 4 of the drivers there we just talked to. That's the beautiful thing about Masters shifter racing.
Yeah, it really is. It's everybody wanting to carry on this love of karting, this love of racing. And you heard it there from Hunter Hagenbuck. I mean, talking about that just sort of analytical side of it, going, I dropped it back a little bit, and then I had to fight back, and the back and forth of it. And that's what you love to do. I mean, you get out no matter what rank you're in of racing, whether from Formula One all the way down to micro, you get out of the cart and you see the people doing hand cars because you want to talk about the race that you just had.
Yep, no doubt.
All right, we're going to go ahead and jump on over. We've got a nice little interview. Frankie Mossman in the SV Pro category. We're going to get a little interview as a palate cleanser. Get us ready for this
drivers we've got in the SV Pro category. Here's another one of them, Frankie Mossman. Frankie, been a phenomenal year for you both in karts and in the bigger cars. Walk me through your season so far, not just in the National Series for karting, but in USF.
Yeah, this has probably been the busiest schedule that I've had, going back and forth in between the karts and the cars, but I'm extremely grateful. You know, I get to keep doing this on and on at 19, which is young to a lot of people. But for me, I think I'm coming closer to the end of my karting. I've done a lot that I wanted to do, and I'm very happy and very well supported by the people around me. I'm always given a good package. I just have to go there and execute and do my job properly, and I feel like I'm maturing, and it's making me a better racing car driver as well, too.
You got a podium at Toronto and a podium here last year. I don't want to draw conclusions, but I feel like you got a knack for these kind of temporary circuits. It's obviously not apples to apples, but kind of tell me about where those similarities might be and just how unique this style of circuit racing is for you.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like it's the evolution of the track, just like how we get a bunch of grip down later in the week. There's about like 310 entries here at ROK. You know, for us, it's pretty similar once IndyCar goes down and lays down their rubber. You know, the transition in the driving style towards the end of the week from where we begin, I feel like that's the closest comparison, you know, and I think this only helps prepare me for the start of the year when we come to the temporary street tracks like Arlington.
So obviously a very competitive field, as you mentioned, more than likely one of your last times we'll see you in a pro kart, but what would be a result you'd be hoping for come Sunday, where if we're talking after the finals, you're happy with what you achieved?
Yeah, it's always going to be a win. The guys work their butt off, so honestly it's about me going and executing, but I think the competition's even, you know, 3 times stronger than it was last year. You know?
We got work to do here right now because the final race of the day is getting set to go. National Motorsports sponsored SV Pro. Let's have a look at the grid as they get set to go here. They've got the first warm-up lap in. Will do the best they can. They'll warm the tires up coming out of turn number 9. Jake Drew, the shoe, starting on the pole position. Just 2 points coming through all the heat races. Fantastic job for him. Drew on the pole alongside the driver we just cut off that interview from, Fast Frankie Mossman. It is Drew for Formula Works, Speed Concepts Racing from Mossman. That is your front row. The big show of the weekend. Gianmatteo Rosso, great job all weekend. He'll start third alongside the rookie senior Turner Brown, Gianluca Savaglio, and Caden McQueen on row number 3. Diego Ramos and Dean Peterson, row 4. Jesus Vasquez Jr. and Blake Nash, row 5. Alexander Vanchev will start in the 11th spot alongside William Battelier, and watch Chase Hand and Austin Elliott roll in from P7. Field set into the staging lanes. Time to go for the final race of the day. We are green, green, green!
And talk about an aggressive start there from Frankie Mossman, trying to get that cover over on Jake Drew, but it didn't quite play out. Drew's still able to hold on to that top position, but I think Mossman has been able to hold off Rousseau, and it is going to be 1, 2, 3 as they started.
Expect a chaotic opening lap. Everybody fighting a position. Look at these guys. 2, 3 wide coming through turn number 7. Look at this shot coming through turn number 7, showing the ferocity of driving one of these karts on this particular racetrack. It's a bull rig for sure. 2 drivers off on the outside of turn number 8. One of them, the 324, the other, the 336. Out of the race already. They'll fight their way through the opening circuit. As I told you, it was going to be elbows up for that first lap. Here comes the move to the inside. Down to the bottom of the racetrack, the shoe, Jake Drew, goes back to P1 as he throws it to the inside of Gianmatteo Rosso. Drew back to P1.
And Savaglio watching this with bated breath. He's going to be able to close in for P3, but it is not a breakaway by any stretch of the imagination until you get about back to Blake Nash. And then it's only a half a second back to Dean Peterson. Alexander Vanchev trying to close his way up as well. Here comes a couple of peaks down into turn 10. Is anybody going to have a play? I think that was Fast Frankie Mossman going for a move, and he's going to get it done. Move him over Savaglio into P3.
The drivers involved in the incident in turn number 8, Mauricio Parada and Gustavo Bandiera. So those drivers out over on the wall of turn number 8, pushing too hard coming through that corner. We saw how aggressive it was in that turn 7 camera shot. It is elbows up, everybody fighting for everything they have here early on in this finale of this year's ROK Vegas event. It is ROK Sunday here at the Rio, and Jake Drew leads. A lot of action further back. Here comes a couple of moves to the inside of turn number 8. Deep move to the bottom of the racetrack. One driver getting shuffled out, but look at these guys going at it further back. Blake Nash, Dean Peterson, Alexander Vanchev in there as well.
And that was the 386 of Turner Brown that was kind of the cork in the bottle, holding everybody up. And look at this, 2, 3 wide coming down through turn 11. Somehow everybody makes it through okay. This has given a little bit of a break up in front to the likes of Drew, Mossman, and McQueen. Turner Brown on back. It is an absolute bottleneck.
For drivers, the rookies like Turner Brown and Alexander Vanchev, welcome to senior racing. This ain't junior anymore, boys. You got to step it up. These are the drivers that they've been watching for the last number of years, and they're getting a really good taste of what it's like to run here in the Thunderdome, because it is a bunch. Oh, another driver off a little bit to the outside. That is going to be the 321 to Dean Peterson, shuffled out to the outside there, but this is just tough racing. No quarters given at all, DJ. Hardcore racing in SV Pro.
Very hardcore and a very good move from Blake Nash to make the move on Turner Brown. That is going to separate things out just a little bit from the rest of this field. There's going to be a gap between 10th place and 11th place. Paulie Massimino going to try to close that gap as much as possible. Meanwhile, the battle that we watch right now, Blake Nash pulling away from Turner Brown in 4th place, trying to close down on Drew, Mossman, and McQueen in the top 3.
I like the way things are shaking up here right now. You see some of these drivers being aggressive, working their way to the front. Another move there to putting Savaglio back another spot. He's got, I believe, Rousseau, Vanchev right behind him as well, both those drivers. So we'll have a look at the top 10 when they come back around. Very early running here right now. Jake Drew, your leader. Frankie Mossman second, Caden McQueen third. Look at the gap they have now. Last time by it was 2.7, call it 2.9. Back to Blake Nash running 4th. Diego Ramos in 5th spot. Turner Brown 6th. 7th, Gian Matteo Rousseau. 8th, Vanchev. 9th, Savaglio. 10th, Joshua Simvalis, able to get himself up. Great job for Simvalis, up 6 spots. Started 16th, now into the 10th position.
And now this battle, McQueen sending it on Frankie Mossman. Dyson and slicing, and Dyson down into turn 8. Car upside down there. I can't get an idea on the number, but that is a rough run, and that is going to be one driver out.
I think that's the 334 potentially, trying to figure out who that is who's gone around and gone over. But again, that the ROK Cup USA crew quickly to Keegan Kaminsky. Kaminsky over from 20th on the grid, able to get up and roll them, but that car was definitely upside down. The Formula Works GFC driver out of this one.
Yeah, and again, credit to the ROK Cup crew there immediately on the scene and getting it taken care of. Another car upside down. That appears to be the 301 potentially.
Yeah, another driver is over there as well. We got lots of stuff going on right now. Guys are at it hardcore. The 301 would be Jesus Vasquez Jr., another one of the GFC cars. So that would be back-to-back black and white GFC cars on their lids right now. We'll see what happens as they fall down the order when they come across start-finish. That'll always obviously give us a look at it when we reset live timing. But, man, couple of incidents on the racetrack here, 7 laps into this main event for SV Pro. Heard talk a little bit in the paddock that it was pretty aggressive out there. I think we're seeing the results of that, no doubt about it. It has been ugly for it at a certain level here as a number of drivers getting shuffled around, coming back through. We'll give you the update when we can. But again, here's your lead. Let's go back to the drivers who have stayed out of the chaos so far. Jake Drew still leading, but here comes Caden McQueen for the first time to the inside of turn number 10. Book it. He's through. The Sodi Racing driver goes to P1.
And Frankie Mossman thought about a little bit of a look there down into turn 12 as well, but couldn't make it play. These three on a full breakaway, call it 2.5, almost 3 seconds between them and Blake Nash. Nash not, slightly able to close that gap, only by about a half a tenth. I think this is giving free rein for the likes of McQueen, Drew, and Mossman to just go at it hammer and tongs.
Yeah, they have 2.5 seconds as the lead there, DJ, and that probably should be enough. But they've been going back and forth quite a bit. Every time they do, they lose just a little bit, right? Last time by, Nash closed up on the leader by about 0.3 of a second. You see Nash there kind of by himself, although he does have Diego Ramos on the PSL Karting Burrell and young Turner Brown on the Rawls Performance Group Cosmic giving chase. That's 4th, 5th, and 6th. Brown's got a little bit of room as well. His teammate RPG Vanchev is the next driver in line, about a second back, so they've got room to play as well. So Nash, Ramos, and Brown could be the next group that kind of closes up if these leaders start to battle a little more than they have in the last couple of laps.
As we wait to see if they do battle a little bit more, we head down to Jackson Lambros, who's got an update.
Eric Hermanson with a very scary flip there coming out of turn number 2, almost cleared the barrier, took 3 officials to clear him. The good news was able to get up under his own power. See him sitting with one of the photogs in what looks to be turn 10 now, but a scary, scary sight, just a reflection of how much chaos 50 karts out on track can bring, DJ.
Very glad to hear he was able to get up under his own power. That is huge. We saw that briefly, and that was a very, very scary incident. Checking back in on the lead, McQueen, Drew, Mossman. The gap back to Blake Nash at 2.3 seconds.
I had mentioned that we thought that the 301 had gone over as well. Jesus Vasquez Jr., I think he's still on track, clocking laps, up to 24th. So maybe it wasn't the 301. We're trying to figure out exactly who that was, one of the other drivers that had gone over. Keegan Kaminsky, Theo Salaveria, Luka Pasek is another 324 out here as well. That's Mauricio Parada. He is out. But Luka Pasek, Eric Hermansen, and Gustavo Bandera, the drivers out of the race so far. So there is a handful of drivers who have retired thus far. 6.5 minutes till the 2-lap sign.
All right, still just under what is normally a heat race for these Carters, and we'll have to see if anybody's able to push ahead. Jake Drew, the gap back to Blake Nash, down to 2.255 seconds. McQueen, Drew, Mossman up in your lead pack. They come through turn 6 and into turn 7, waiting to see if anybody's close enough to be able to have this attack. It's not quite yet. I think they may be waiting a little bit, Rob. I think they kind of read your mind and said, we got to work together for a little bit, let this fight happen in the final 4.
I'm watching Nash, Ramos, and Brown. Their times are very similar to what we're seeing up front, 40.5, 40.6s. They're not making hay, right? They need to be making more than that with the amount of time we know they still have. You can see them coming in there, Blake Nash. But indeed, the front-running trio is kind of separated a little bit. Caden McQueen built himself a little bit of cushion, almost 0.3 of a second over Jake Drew. These two drivers, as we know, have been going back and forth throughout the heat races, trying to see who was going to kind of run up front. Drew came away with the best results of all 4 of those heat races, got the pole position, but McQueen right back at it again here, leading the way.
Yeah, if McQueen can hold this out, a little bit of a look behind there for Drew and McQueen. Frankie Mossman knows he's got enough gap behind him. He doesn't need to be looking back. He just needs to be fully focused forward. But look at this. As they keep going around, these gaps are expanding outwards, both between McQueen and Drew and Mossman.
Indeed, yeah, that trio that was really locked and loaded on each other has separated a little bit. Let's have a look deeper in the field and shout out a couple of drivers who are on the move. Big move here for Caleb Gaffera, started in the 19th spot. The Holtz driver development pilot now up into the top 10. Gaffera now running in the 9th position. Paulie Massimino up a couple of spots, 15th up into 10th for Massimino, dealing with a little bit of aero push, I think, in that machine. The number 382 of Daniel Perez, how about up 12? Started 26th. He's almost split the difference. He's into 14th.
Great movement up through the field, and obviously taking advantage of some of the kerfluffles that we saw a little bit earlier on. But nevertheless, you move that many positions, you have got to have a hot shoe underneath you.
We talked about it in the VLR senior category, but Alessandro Tullio started all the way back in 30th. He's plus 13 up to 17th. Just try to minimize the damage, see if he can't work his way into a top 15 and have another fun run out there in this new SV Pro power plant. Great shot there coming through turn 7, seeing everybody up on the stands on the outside of that corner watching this final race of the day, the final race, the 2025 ROK Vegas event.
Yeah, and I also love seeing in that shot the lean, the yaw that you're seeing in these karts as they come through the corner and the G's that are being exerted on these drivers. We talked about fitness before. That's a prime example.
Yeah, one of the things, obviously, from the car world where you are from, in the karting world, a lot of the things, we don't have suspension, right? The chassis itself is the suspension, and the heaviest thing on the kart is the driver, right? You're talking about 130 to 160, 170 pound driver. Where that all that weight gets transferred when you're in through a corner, how they transfer that to the rear wheel, of course, the axle thickness, the length of the hub, everything to flex that tire, how much grip you put in the tire. It's all about managing, number one, the flex of the kart, and two, that big heavyweight thing in the middle of the kart, which is the driver itself. You have to fully leverage that, and that's when you see the car gets into the corner. They want to lift that inside rear wheel up so that solid axle drives off the outside wheel.
Exactly. We're going to head down to Jackson Lambros, who's got another update for us.
And DJ and Rob, I do have that other car involved in that incident. Keegan Kaminsky for GFC actually not only flipped, but did indeed try remounting and getting in that kart to go again. Unsurprising that axle was shot, but thankfully was in fine enough condition to try going again. He's upstanding, trying to find that Ital Motors driver as well, guys.
Well, if at first you do not succeed, try again. I mean, that's my mentality. If you can get it back up and go.
You've literally been upside down, just like, no, put me back in. I want to keep going. Keegan Kaminsky's a racer, man. I'm telling you that. Folks, we're coming down to the final couple laps of this year's ROK Vegas event. McQueen now stretching out to a 0.4 of a second lead. Can the British driver for Velocity Racing on the French-made Sodi kart come away with the race win? He's dominated these last couple of laps. Last time by, he was over 1/10 of a second quicker than Jake Drew. Mossman third, Nash fourth, Ramos in fifth. We're coming down to probably a handful of laps remaining here in this year's event. The SV Pro category has not disappointed at all. The cream rising to the top here. Sodi, GFC, and I believe Mossman, I think, on the CS55 chassis. We'll get a confirmation on that OTK product for sure. A driver is off. I believe this might be right in turn number 1 and 2. And indeed, that's the 345 hard into the barriers on the outside of turn number 1. That is Levi Sangara out in turn number 1. The crew is there. Yellow flag flying. So again, no passing coming through turn number 1.
Yeah, very crucial on that. Even if you're close enough to get it done, you've got to make sure that you have the sense of mind to back off of that. Up front, Caden McQueen building up a 0.5 of a second advantage. He has just got to be grinning underneath that helmet right now in that 342, knowing that he has got some breathing room.
You know, this is where, DJ, they rely on all the races they've won before. All those times they've been out front, being chased, being pushed, knowing a driver behind you with the talent of Jake Drew is coming on strong. You try to put your best laps down. That's what Caden McQueen just did. We're going to see the 2 to go very soon, but a 40.420. His best lap coming on lap number 19. They have set the tire pressure is perfect. The chassis is perfect. That long run pace they were looking for. He was almost a full 1/10 of a second quicker than Drew on that last lap. Mossman goes quick as well with a 40.7, enough to hold back Blake Nash. But right now, the front drivers are stretching away.
Yeah, and let's talk about Blake Nash here. That gap was 2.53 seconds. He's caught up. He's fighting for a podium here.
You're right. He was last time by was 0.2 of a second. He's podium for P4, but can he get to third? Top 5 drivers to the podium here in ROK Vegas action. Nash and Ramos 4th and 5th, still en route for a podium. But could it be a P3 for Blake Nash? Up on the wheel, the Nash Motorsports number 364.
What a remarkable run that would be for Blake Nash if he's able to do this. And he's closing down on Frankie Mossman, not only to get the pass done, to get into that 3rd place position, but to do it on somebody as good as fast Frankie Mossman.
No doubt about that. Started 10th, now running in 4th for Blake Nash, trying to see if he can't get to 3rd. All the pressure on that Speed Concepts racing driver now. They'll see, I believe, the 2 to go sign this time by, or are we 3 laps remaining? They'll come across the line. We'll get a good look here. Yes, 2 to go. 2 laps remaining here in the SV Pro main event. McQueen out by, 0.8 of a second. He's got things handled.
He is in cruise mode right now, and it is anything but for Frankie Mossman as he tries to hold off the charging Blake Nash. They'll come around 2 laps to go through turn 7. Nash closing all the more as he gets closer and closer, but a little bit wide on apex of turn 8.
Nash asking for everything out of that chassis and see if he can't reel him in. The motor power plant there as well, singing as they work their way down the back straightaway. All over Mossman. Mossman going to have to go on the defense sooner or later here. White flag already given to Caden McQueen as he comes on this front straightaway. 1 more lap for Caden. This is that battle for that 3rd and 4th position. Good job thus far. Nash all over Frankie Mossman coming to turn number 5. Out front, Caden McQueen leading the way here. 0.8 of a second was the margin over Jake Drew on the last lap. Final circuit for the British driver to try to win here in ROK Vegas. Still the fight continuing for 3rd. Great job here for Frankie Mossman. Pulling one out of the hat here, trying to find his fastest lap. Caden McQueen out front, though, as we know. This is the battle for P3. Let's find that leader coming around because the checker flag going to fly this time by. As they get to start-finish, he'll tap the side pod of the Sodi card. It is Caden McQueen winning at the Rio. ROK Vegas SV Pro, the inaugural winner. Caden McQueen winning by 0.7 of a second over Jake Drew. Frankie Mossman coming home in 3rd. Blake Nash 4th. Diego Ramos rounding out the podium. Turner Brown just on the outside looking in. And Blake Nash made it fun, DJ, over the last couple of laps. All that pressure on Frankie Mossman.
Yeah, I mean, that was an inspired drive for Blake Nash. But let's talk about Caden McQueen. I mean, the slap of the cart, you could see the emotion under that helmet and just how much it means to McQueen to win in this inaugural race here for SV Pro.
Yeah, 100%. You know that he was battling back and forth with Jake Drew all weekend. Each of them kind of taking the time in the spotlight. I got to win. You've got to win. But it came down to what ended up being a 23-lap race. He was able to take the lead and pull away consistently over the last couple of laps. Kind of checked it out there on the final circuit with a 40.702. 2 laps ago, he turned a 40.388. His best lap was lap 21 of a 23-lap race. Other big movers, Caleb Gaffera, I mentioned him, started 19th. He gets up into the 8th spot. 11 position improvement as well for Steven Eisert for Speed Sense Motorsports. He started 23rd, ends up in the 12th spot. Plus 15 for DeTulio, started 30th, split the difference. Top 15 for ADT in the Rocket Racing Company machine. But my goodness, what a drive for this British pilot right here. Caden McQueen, ready to stand by and chat with Jackson D'Ambrose.
And it's a brand new era in ROK with SV, and there's a new champion stateside, Caden McQueen. It's been a hard fight all weekend to get to the front, but you come out as champion. What emotions come to mind here?
Yeah, well, you know, we ended the day yesterday on not such a high note, but to come away with a win, yeah, it's amazing. You know, the Velocity team have done such a good job to make sure everything's 100% for every race. So, yeah, a big thank you to them. Yeah, wow.
Not only were you able to clear him, but you actually put a gap on that GFC behind you. Did that pace surprise you behind the 342?
If I'm honest, I knew I had a little bit of pace left, but, you know, I didn't know what Jake had left either. He's been amazing all weekend, and yeah, I knew that it was going to be tricky. I knew I needed to be consistent because, like I said, you know, he's had really good pace all week. So, but yeah, to come away with a win, yeah, it's great.
It's been a hard fight, my friend, but you're a ROK Cup champion. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
See if we can keep it going here to your P2 finisher, Jake Drew, who looked so dominant all weekend long, but just came up one position short. Jake, I know this stings, but talk to me about where the emotions are for you right now.
I mean, I'm still proud of everybody's effort, myself and the team. We all worked our butts off all week, and you know, I think Cade and I were the class of the field this week. It probably showed at the end of the race there. Had a big gap on everybody else. So I'm still proud to come in here and have the results we did. I know second kind of sucks, but we'll still take it, and we'll keep working from here.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Moving on over here to your third place finisher here, Frankie Mossman. I know we're kind of in a weird spot here. I'm a tiptoe over here. We're good. Frankie, P3 and a hard drive to the front there. I know I'm missing a little bit of something there at the end, but talk to me about your race there.
Yeah, I especially thought that we had it at the beginning. I think we came on pretty strong. Had a pretty bad start. Somebody put Jake into us at the beginning, and I fell back to about fifth. And I think this was the most competitive that we've been in the opening laps, and so I felt like if we had more longevity, we kind of started to peak out while they just kept improving towards the end, you know. But I mean, the team did an absolutely great job with us the entire week, you know. This is the second time in 2 years I'll be standing third on the podium at ROK Vegas, so, you know, I'm a little, stings a little, but at the same time, you know, it just gives me something to come back for.
Thanks, Frankie.
Yep, thank you.
DJ.
An incredible run, an incredible top three that we were able to talk to, Rob, and an incredible weekend here in the parking lot of the Rio. This is karting at its absolute best.
Yeah, you know, for me to watch these guys kind of unpack the race there, like right afterwards, you know, 30 seconds to 60 seconds after the race, when they start thinking, man, I saw what they did and what I could have done. You know, we made it the change to make it do this on the racetrack, but it ended up being not quite enough, right? Like Frankie said, I thought we were really good out of the gate, but we probably didn't have exactly what they needed at the end. They're always second-guessing themselves. Mm-hmm. They always want to win. They put on such a great performance. You know, hats off to all of them. But you hear Jake too, right? Yeah, we're happy we were second, but man, just it stings a little bit not getting P1.
Well, and that's the sign of a true driver. Yeah. You are not fully happy until you are on the top step of that podium. But all of our champions here, all of our runners here deserve the biggest kudos because they put on one heck of a show, not only today, but all weekend long.
Well, one of the things we always say when we're calling one of these races, when you get to the last race and you're done, no red flags. We did not have a red flag, which is fantastic, everybody. And we had some incidents on the racetrack, as we know, maybe a couple of minor injuries here, but when people can walk away and come back and potentially race the next race, like we saw with Joshua Daly, his big flip in the Masters category, ran the rest of the day and ended up with a top 10 here on ROK Sunday. For me, to have a clean race day like that and to have everybody else get more experience, some very, very well-deserved winners, it's a win all around.
Yeah, it's a win all around, and it's such a special and remarkable event that we've been able to put on here. Again, massive thank you to everybody from the ROK Cup team for being able to put this event together. I want to go down one last time to Jackson Lambros. Jackson, I know this is your first time kind of on the ground. I'm interested in your final thoughts of the weekend.
I mean, when you do regional and national level events, you get a feeling that maybe you have an idea of who's going to win, but you take a very big pie chart, a big piece of the pie here for the classes throughout this ROK Vegas. You had favorites, but even then you had some outsiders crash. And it felt like genuinely in any single class, everybody had a shot. And you take into consideration the backgrounds, the storylines, and a all-out title fight between two of the biggest names in karting right now for a brand new engine package. Can't think of a better way to end off Rock Vegas, guys.
Couldn't agree with that anymore,
Yeah.
Rob.
No doubt about it. And listen, shout out to Jackson for all the work he did throughout this weekend. You know, we are doing what we are inside here. We're calling the action. But he was busting his tail up and down, providing a ton of fantastic information. So kudos to Jackson on that one. I feel the same thing as him. You had ideas of who's coming into the race, who you thought was going to be good. But the track itself is always the wild card. You come into a temporary circuit, dirty, changes the entire weekend long. It's never the same session after session. That's the wild card that every one of the mechanics, tuners, and drivers are chasing all weekend long. Only 11 drivers were going to be able to come to the top of the podium, which we'll have a little bit later on today. But every one of these drivers you see in the scale line right now has the respect of, I know, both you and I and Jackson and everybody, because they came here to compete. They came here to put the hammer down on it. Was a very, very tough racetrack. And for me, to have them all come through and wrap up this fantastic Rock weekend, the first time I've been able to come to the Rock Vegas event and work with you, DJ, and Jackson, of course, I enjoyed the entire weekend.
I did as well. There's nothing quite like karting, and there's nothing quite like karting here in Vegas when Rock Cup puts it on. We've got to give a massive, massive thank you to all of the Rock Cup officials, all of the ground workers, all of the corner workers and the marshals that were out there all day. We also need to give a massive, massive thank you to our production team here, Jason, Bob, as well as Brandon here, who have been doing such a great job all weekend long, making us look as good as possible. It's very hard to do to make us look good, but they do their best about it, and they make us look spectacular. So massive, massive thank you, as well as our camera ops as well. Want to give them a huge, huge shout out. Folks, it has been an absolute pleasure to bring you the racing action here this weekend. So for one final time, on behalf of myself, DJ Clark, Rom Howden, and Jackson Lambros, it's been a pleasure to see you, and we will see you back for the Florida Winter Tour.